Let's take a look at it together, shall we? Kissing hot dudes. I'm sure you've probably answered this, but who do you think is going to win? I think Biden's going to win. He has like the greater chance of winning based on all of the data I've seen. So I'm going with Biden, my dudes. Yeah, exactly. Open the window with the sweater on. True. Okay. So, uh, ooh, nice. Donald Trump wants to deport a lot of people this weekend. You know what? They came in illegally. They have to go out, he told reporters Friday as he confirmed that planned immigration raids would go ahead in certain cities starting this weekend. This article is, by the way, from 2019, so last year. Get her out, you monster. um, The immigration advocacy groups criticized the Barack Obama administration as the deporter-in-chief during his bid for re-election in 2012, perception that former Vice President Joe Biden will have to answer for as he campaigns to carry on Obama's legacy. The issue is complicated. The Bush administration moved forward towards removing people from the country with a court order. What's more commonly known as deportation is referred to now by the government as a removal. This sparked increased criticism from immigrant rights organizations. In previous administrations, far more people attempted to enter the country, and far more people were turned away, often without a hearing before an immigration judge. That procedure used to be known as voluntary departure, but now it's called a return by the government. They all have the effect of a deportation, but there are more legal consequences for a removal than for a return. In totality, George W. Bush deported even more people than Obama, and President Bill Clinton deported more than Bush. According to an analysis from the Migration Policy Institute, more than 12 million people were deported, either removed or returned, from the U.S. during the Clinton administration. More than 10 million were removed or returned during the Bush administration. Far fewer, more than 5 million, were returned or removed during the Obama administration. Those numbers alone don't tell the whole story, though, according to the Obama administration officials. A straight numbers-by-numbers comparison doesn't provide an accurate picture of what was going on in the administration, Cecilia Munoz, who is a top domestic policy advisor to Obama and is now the left-leaning New American Foundation, said in a phone interview. She argues that Obama prioritized deporting people convicted of serious crimes and recent arrivals who had no criminal records. If you're not targeting and focusing on people who recently arrived, then the border is effectively open, Munoz added. It is more humane to be removing people who have been here 2 weeks than it is to be removing people who have been here for 20 years and have families. Trump, by contrast, she said, has rejected the policy of focusing on new arrivals and criminals and instead wants to deport as many people as possible. It's impossible to ignore his rhetoric. He famously called some Mexican immigrants rapists and focused his presidency around the idea that he would build a wall, get tough with Mexico, and deport as many undocumented immigrants as possible. Trump's planned raids come after years of claims that American citizens are harmed by the presence of undocumented migrants, from inviting crime victims to the State of the Union address to his recent effort to add a citizenship question to the census. Obama used executive action to temporarily give protected status to undocumented people who arrived in the U.S. as children and curbed deportations from the interior states of the country. His focus, particularly toward the end of his administration, was on quick returns of new arrivals at the border who were perceived to have had fewer ties in the U.S., though that controversially included the same types of Central American migrants whose arrival has swamped the border this year. The libertarian Cato Institute crunched the data and demonstrated that deportations from the interior of the country, meaning away from the border, so people who've likely been in the country longer, were on the downswing during most of the Obama administration. Trump has sought to end Obama's program shielding undocumented young people from deportation and has reversed the trend on internal deportations as he sought to remove more people, including those who have been in the country for a long time. However, Trump still has not reached anywhere near the levels of interior removals as the early Obama administration, according to Cato analysis of data through 2018. This has created a headache for Biden, who is now paying a political price for that Obama record. His campaign office in Philadelphia was briefly occupied by 6 immigration rights activists and 6 immigration rights activists were arrested Wednesday. He's been confronted on the campaign trail. He didn't mention Obama's record on deportations when he laid out an immigration policy in a meeting with Miami Herald in June. At the second night of the Democratic primary debate in June, Biden said there's no comparison between Trump and Obama's records. President Obama, I think, did a heck of a job. To compare him to that guy is doing absolutely, I find it close to immoral, he said. Muniz argued it is Trump's lack of priorities about who to deport that is causing chaos in immigration communities. People are in terror, she said. They're living scared, sending their children to school. That is a very, very different dynamic. There's no enforcement policies in the Trump administration. That's the point. In the Obama administration, there were clear priorities. So, yeah, there's a definite distinction between how the two administrations went about doing their removals and returning efforts, where Donald Trump is really trying to, and has been for a while, make no distinction between somebody who's just trying to live their life peacefully and someone who's a violent murderer. And I'd argue even in that distinction between the two, I think that there's a lot of unethical wiggle room. I think it's pretty unethical for what Obama was doing as well, by the way. But I think you can make a case that that was a better way of doing things than the way we do it now, where we're putting immigrant communities in terror. I'm willing to make that argument. And I don't agree with either of those priorities or either of those systems, but one is definitely better than the other. So, yeah, that's my position on immigration. And I think that a lot of Joe Biden's immigration policy has generally been well received. Let's take a look. Joe Biden immigration policy. Whoop. Plan for securing values as a nation of immigrants. Okay, let's take a look at all of this stuff. Okay, as president, Biden will forcefully pursue policies that safeguard our security, provide a fair and just system that helps to grow and enhance our economy and secure our cherished values. Ooh, that is a good question, Sentry Dish. I might be hopping around. As a non-American, your voting system is flawed and archaic. Yes, it is. Much like everything in our government. Didn't Bernie for decades say open borders was a Koch brothers idea to stagnate wages and we needed strong borders to keep a strong economy to raise up the working class? Look, I don't know everything about Bernie Sanders. He might have said that. He might not have. But I think it's undeniable that immigrants are net benefits to our economy. Whether they're illegal immigrants, whether they are undocumented immigrants, or they are here with documents, either way, they're net benefits to our economy and a huge asset to our country. So my position is we should make immigration much easier, much simpler, and do away with all this for-profit prison shit that we have in our border security systems. Take urgent action to undo Trump's damage, reclaim America values, modernize America's immigration system, welcome immigrants into our communities. Let's take a look. Fair human... Oh, okay. Understands the pain felt, blah, blah, blah. Immigration policies on a much stronger footing. Okay. As vice president, he championed DACA and DAPA. Okay. Oh, here we go. Urgent action, undo Trump's damage, and reclaim American values. In the first 100 days, the Biden administration will immediately reverse the Trump administration's cool and senseless policies that separate children from their families at the border. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. End Trump's detrimental asylum policies. Yeah, sounds real good. Right now, they're really bad. And the mismanagement of the asylum system, which fuels violence and chaos at the border. Yeah, like part of the issue here is like our asylum system is largely something that makes sense. Um, wait, BBC probably used their coverage too. Immigrants, yeah, immigrants are rad as fuck. They make great food. This was only in 2015, but this was a long-standing belief of his until Trump said the same thing. Look, I do not know enough about this policy to answer your question or statement, I guess. But like I think that there are also I think that it's possible that you can be both a socialist and a protectionist. I think that there is like probably a good argument to be made for that. Um, but I also think that Bernie Sanders, if you asked him, would probably be against our modern system of like ICE enforcement and deportations. So yeah, howdy, Apple Juice. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you coming here. Um, let's see. End mismanagement of the asylum system, surge humanitarian resources to border and foster public-private initiatives. What does that mean? Humanitarian needs are best met through network of organizations such as faith-based shelters, non-governmental aid organizations, legal nonprofits, and refugee assistance agencies working together. U.S. government resources to support migrants awaiting assessment for their asylum claims, and organizations providing for their needs. Well, that all sounds pretty good. Though I suspect that there will be some waste going on in here. That seems like a messy commitment, but better than nothing. And again, if anyone wants to hop in here and talk to me about Trump stuff, I'm happy to hear it. End prolonged detention and reinvest in case management program. Absolutely. We have absolutely shit poor funding of our judges. Reverse Trump's public charge rule, allowing immigration officials to make an individual's ability to... Oh, yeah. Yeah, contingent on government benefits that they may or may not need. And that's, yeah, okay. Yeah, all of these changes seem really good to me. So, like, I guess, like, the argument that we should throw away our vote and kind of like that Godzilla quote, let them fight, and whoever wins, it doesn't matter. Like, no, it obviously matters. Like, all of these things, protecting, like, DACA recipients, like, ending the national emergency that is taking federal, like, tons of federal money to build this wall, reversing, like, these detrimental policies, investing in case management, ending detention, like, providing for asylum seekers, like, all of these systems are amazing things that are way better than anything that Trump has done. And again, I realize that you might think that Biden is bullshitting out his, like, throat about all of this, but statistically, presidential candidates fulfill 60% of their political promises during their campaigns. So if even 60% of these policies went through, that would be a good thing. Yeah, it would be better than anything Trump would do. So, yeah, like, the argument that, like, oh, Joe Biden has a bad record, yeah, I get it. But Trump also has a bad record. And if you look at their policies, Biden does way more good than Trump does. So, it's just painfully obvious, guys.